Each week there'll be at least one or more study guides that will help you understand the anatomy that's included in the outline and in the lectures. I have brought up week 1 abdominal vessels just to give you a little bit better idea of what the study guides will look like. For Maria's lectures, there will be a PDF link at the top, as well as a page of information that covers the same thing. And mine will be in a PowerPoint format for the most part, as well as the images that you see here. Some are from Netters, and then there are CT and MRI scans often included, as well as angio exams, and often drawings. Um, it's amazing what Google and Bing have out there that you can access and see as well. They're wonderful resources for you to be able to add to your understanding of anatomy. But with the images, there's also language that is helps you relate anatomy to each other as you're trying to describe where it's located in the body. So, for example, celiac access exits the aorta superior to the SMA, meaning above the SMA, more towards the head of the body. And this is language of sexual anatomy using anterior and posterior, superior and inferior, and left and right. So it will be very important to include those when it's necessary on exams. If I'm asking you to point out a kidney, you'll need to say whether it's the right kidney or the left kidney and that sort of thing, so that I know for sure that you're understanding the anatomy and how it relates to other structures in the body. So that's what the study guide looks like. And while Maria generally does not reference plate numbers and page numbers in Netters, I often will, just so you can quickly go to that book and that plate number and see what image I'm looking at if you want to use it to study. Um, I will often use the 5th edition of Netters. There is a 6th edition and it's available on Bellevue College now, but I don't use it as much. It has some wonderful images though, so I suggest that you take a look at that to add to your other book, Weir, Netter's 5th and 6th edition, as well as E-Anatomy. And I'm going to show you now how to get to those. So if we go back to Bellevue College's main page, and you will need to log in, and I've already logged in through Canvas, and then go to the library over here on the left, and then databases also on the left, and you will see E-Anatomy here and Netters here. And I brought them up just to save a little bit of time. Sometimes my computer is slow to load as well. You'll see the axial images, and this is a CT image. Some of the E-Anatomy visuals are in CT and some are in MR. But it's very nice because it not only shows you the axial images and all of the labels, but also it will give you a sagittal and a coronal image and show you the reference line so that you know where you are in the body. So as you scroll through this, that line will either move down if you're moving inferiorly, or that line will move up if you're moving superiorly. And then as far as the labels are concerned, you can go here under anatomical parts and deselect all. So you can just look at the image itself, or you can choose perhaps arteries and veins if you just want to look at the vessels. Whatever you happen to be studying that day, whatever you're interested in looking at. It used to be, and I don't know if some variations of E-Anatomy are different than others, but it used to be that it would actually segment this whole section green or yellow or orange and actually show you the dividing lines, but it no longer does that. At least I have not gotten it to function on my machine in the last couple of months. If it works for you, please let me know. And it sometimes is nice to be able to see the divisions a little bit better, but I have not seen that on mine in quite some time. And then for the Netters reference book, this is nice because you also have the ability of looking at it with the labels and with the lines, or you can choose no labels and just have the lines. So if you want to quiz yourself, you can use it that way, or you can take off the lines and the labels. just be sure to orient yourself. Um, it will show you, normally it will say whether it's an anterior or posterior view. And I wanted to bring up a couple of the other images here that we have. So for example, the liver, this is one where they will show you the anterior view, and here it actually tells you anterior view, and then they flip this image up so that this structure is now at the top, and that's it right here. And you can see here's a gallbladder, and here it is here. So they've actually just lifted the whole thing up and flipped it over. And you have to just be aware of how Netters is showing you the anatomy in that particular image. So be sure to look at it carefully and orient yourself. Netters will also, usually you'll see these little clips or little forceps lifting up anatomy. So here's a diaphragm being lifted up off the liver. And it's helpful because then you'll be able to see the structures that are behind it when they do that. So that's really nice. So I like to look at Netters generally first so that I can see the whole image and then go back and relate it to a sectional image. So that may not work for you, but please look at your two books, Weir, and you may not actually have the Netters book, but it's available here for you at the library. It's a free reference if you log on, and then also eAnatomy is the other free reference. And going back to the study guide. So once again, looking at the anatomy and how you use the language to relate it to one another. Another example is the body of the pancreas is posterior to the body of the stomach. The superior mesenteric artery courses posterior to the neck of the pancreas and anterior to the third portion of the duodenum. So that are just some ways that we use that language to tell you what anatomy we're talking about and how it relates to other structures. Also, you'll want to orient yourself to the CT and MRI information that's available in the beginning of the Weir book. If you have access to a PACS, that's also a great way to look and study the images, both CT and MRI, because you'll be able to see different anatomy than what you see on eAnatomy, as well as different anatomy that you might see in the study guides that you'll see. And as well as the beginning of the Weir book, Wikipedia also has some wonderful pages on CT and MRI that just gives you some basic information about what it is and how the images are created. CT uses ionizing radiation while MRI uses magnets and radio frequencies. And that's just a very basic outline of how they're used and how the images are created, but you can find more information on both of these pages as well as in your Weir book. So please be sure to use all of these resources. At the bottom of the study guide, there's also some more helpful links and pages. Maria has added some here that she has found very helpful. I'll also be adding some of my own. And if you find anything that you feel might be helpful for the class or other people, your peers in the class, please forward them to me and I will be happy to add them to this page. Thank you.